Welcome back to Terrain by Aaron, or if you've just stumbled across the channel, hello, my name is Aaron and I like to make stuff out of plastic junk. And as you can see, this isn't plastic junk, this is Cobb Vanth. Fresh out of the box, he's the Marshal from the Mandalorian series, and this week's build I'm going to try and make him his speeder. So first thing I'm going to need is a long tube. And this will do, so I'm just going to sand it all down. This is the connector for a hose pipe. I'm just trying to work out how to make his engine. And then these are just random bottle tops, caps from sweets, I think. So as you can see, I'm just trying to work out which bottle top would look the best. It could all change, and usually does, way down the line. And you'll notice that I swap out this tube for a different tube later on. And there's the new tube. It was a sweet spray. Random, I know, but it works. I made a base out of 10mm XPS foam so I could sit the tube on it. And then something happened. I just left the build.
That was pretty ballsy, putting the build to one side for so long.
Yes, it was. I just couldn't work out how to get the chair and the figure to sit properly without lots of little structures underneath it. Then, after I moved and unpacked and set up my new man cave, I found all the pieces in a tray. Plus, by this time, Ezrom had made me some epic music for this video, which I'd re-listened to, so I thought it was time to put my big boy pants on and crack this build once and for all. And I guess taking the time away from this build helped me think about it and work it out, which was I was overthinking things. As you can see, I used coffee stirrers for the seat, using EVA foam just to bulk out the seat, used some more EVA foam to cover up all the little scrapes for the engine, and then it was on to building up the main jet engine, which was just using bits and pieces of plasticard. Once I built the structure for the handlebars were just made from plastic spurs, just the corner edges, just simple, just stuck them together and then stuck it on. And then, as you can see, just used more bits and pieces of plasticard or styrene just to give the engine some sort of texture. And then it was on just to put the panels on, which was from the original tube that I was going to use for the rocket. For these two wings, I just rounded one of the edges and just super glued it on. I'd actually made a boo-boo because I didn't mark out where the wings were going to go before I started putting the wire onto the rocket, but I managed to get it all stuck on eventually. And once that was done, I hit the greebly box, and now I know this wasn't in the TV show, but I had a blank space at the back of the chair which needed filling, so I just used some of these, which was probably, I think it was a tent, a rolled up tent and a rolled up sleeping bag that just fitted nicely in that gap and covered the gap. I'd swapped out the toothpicks for some plastic clear tubing, but I still had the problem with the wobble of the weight of the action figure when I put it onto the speeder. So hot glued that down and then got some thicker EVA foam and just hot glued the XPS to the EVA foam so then that would counteract everything. Then to cover all the gaps, it was time for filler. This is the cheap stuff from the Euro store or dollar store, and I'm just quite literally throwing it all on just to cover all the gaps before I put the detailing on, which will be just I think it's sand colour.
Can I politely ask all you sexy people out there who watch but haven't subscribed yet to possibly sub to the channel? Even giving us a thumbs up really helps. Thanks peeps, and remember, stay sexy.
Thanks George for that. So what I'm going to do now, once everything has dried, I'm just going to hit it with a rattle can of grey primer. And to my surprise, the filler actually worked nicely. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do some watered down brown just for the main engine part, just to make it that sort of like dirty and used look. And then for the seats and saddlebags, I'm going to use two different tans just to give it some different definition. And obviously for the engine part, I'll just paint it matte black and then go over it with a dry brush of silver. And then onto the panels, which was just basically a red, just putting it on lightly. I didn't want to do too many coats for the red because I wanted it to look used and battered and run down and just like it was from spare parts. And then I did a base coat of latte colour before hitting the wings with two coats of yellow. I felt there was too much yellow on the wings, so I used these tyre tracks, painted them black, hit them with a bit of silver just to break up the yellowness, and I think it worked out alright. Since I couldn't find my Sharpie silver pen, I had to go old school and use a little brush just to give the chipping all along the side panels and the front wings. There was no master plan to this, it was just wherever I thought it looked cool, really. I did a quick check with the reference of the pictures that I had, and the front wings had that sort of effect on it. And then I just used the weathering powders just to tone down everything and make it look worn and torn, and that was it. The speeder for the Marshall. So once I weathered all that, the ace cameraman that I am, I totally forgot to film me doing the base, which was just basically watered down PVA glue and then threw the scenic sand on top of it. But that's basically it. So as always, thank you very much for your continued support, and until next time, keep scratching that build everybody, and we're on to the glamour shots.
Ladies and gentlemen.
My God. You were right, that is a big hole.
You know, I don't even want to ask. George, what did we learn this week?
If a build isn't working, put it to one side and come back to it at a later date, and if it's still not floating your boat, bin it and go to the pub.
Guess you're right. Say good night, George.